Aloha, Penn Nation. What's up, guys? You're now tuned in to yet another edition of BJPenn.com Radio, the fighter's voice. As always, I'm your host, Jay Kinch. This is episode 97, and we have three awesome guests, a few great conversations that I know you will enjoy. BJPenn.com Radio is powered by none other than BJPenn.com, your premier source for all things mixed martial arts, exclusive content, hot topics, breaking news, you name it, we got it. BJPenn.com/MMA news. Make sure you bookmark us. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+. Set up alerts and stay up to date on the sport that we all love. Now for this episode, as I mentioned, three guests. We're going to kick things off with Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series winner, recently signed a UFC contract, set to make his debut November 10th at UFC Denver against Chaz Skelly. The Wolfman, Bobby Moffett, will be kicking things off with him. And then our second guest, UFC light heavyweight, set to compete at UFC 231 in December. They call him the Brown Bear, Devin Clark. And closing out this episode, we'll be joined by top 10 welterweight in the UFC, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Santiago set to face Neil Magny on November 17th in his native Argentina. He's very excited for the fight, as are we. So there you have it, folks. Let's waste no time. We're going to jump right into it. Kicking things off, BJPenn.com Radio, The Fighter's Voice, episode 97, Bobby Moffett. All right, Penn Nation, please welcome to the show Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series winner and now UFC featherweight, Bobby the Wolfman Moffett. Thanks for joining us today, Bobby. How are things down at the MMA lab on this Sunday?
Oh, it's going great, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, my friend. How are things down at the MMA lab?
It's going great. I'll be heading there in a couple hours actually right now, training with Jakar and Courtney and some other guys.
Cool, man, cool. Without a doubt, one of the best gyms in the business, and John Crouch being one of the best coaches. How long have you been with that team?
About a little bit over 2 years now I've been with the team.
Very good, very good. Fit right in, I'd assume, right from the beginning, or?
Yeah, it was a perfect fit. Like I went out there just to test it out to see if I liked it, and John Crouch and I felt like just hit it off right away. And everybody on the team has been so nice to me, you know, and we've just become really good friends. Just almost like I've known them longer than I have, you know. So it's a great fit for me.
Yeah, it's the brotherhood and camaraderie that makes the big difference when it comes to finding a good camp, a good home for yourself to progress in the sport, right?
Yes, exactly. Those you have these people that are pushing you every day, and you see them succeed, and it makes you want to become better, and it's just a perfect place to be.
Listen, by the way, before we get into things here, did you watch the Canelo Triple G fight last night?
Unfortunately, I showed up to the spot where I was going to watch it right at the end. I was rooting for Triple G, but I guess I saw the scorecards and everything, and I mean, I guess Canelo won. I wasn't hoping for
Right.
that.
I think after the failed drug test and all the drama from the first fight, I think a lot of people were pulling for Triple G. But once you get a chance to watch it, you'll probably be upset. I think a lot of people felt like Triple G took it, but you know, it is what it is when it comes to leaving it to the judges.
Yeah, I saw the punch stats. And I was just it seemed like Triple G landed more punches. I mean, obviously he threw more punches too, but it just, I don't know. You know, I don't know how you score boxing anymore. Sometimes I've seen fights where guys are the aggressor, and they don't land as many punches, but they're always aggressive. They're always coming forward, and they lose. And then you see the exact opposite. They're doing the same thing. They don't land as many punches, and then they win, you know, so.
Right.
I don't know.
Right, and I mean, it's not to say, like, judging is any better in mixed martial arts, that's for sure, so.
No. Definitely not. You have the judges that like the takedowns, you have the judges that like the damage, and then just few and far in between with the pressure and everything. So
Right.
it's always
Right.
different. Everyone's different.
Are you a big fan of the sweet science? You know, based on your record, I'd assume that your first love is grappling.
Yeah, grappling is definitely my favorite thing, obviously. I started off wrestling and then with jiu-jitsu, but I do like watching boxing. When I was a kid, I wasn't a big fan of watching boxing. Maybe it was because I didn't understand it, but also I was used to like watching professional wrestling, so
Right.
I wanted just like a little more action, instead of just punches. But now I appreciate the sweet science much, much more than I used to.
Now, I know they call you the Wolfman, but I could say they could also call you the Darceman.
Yeah, yeah, or Darth Vader. That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, that's even better. That's even better. How did you get the nickname the Wolfman?
So I was like growing out my beard for the first time, trying really hard. It was pretty patchy. It was really ugly. But my cousin, Little Luke, we'll call him, he told me that I looked like the Wolfman. And it was when the Benicio del Toro Wolfman was coming out.
Oh, wow, that was a while ago.
Like, hey, Bobby, you look... Yeah, it was a while ago. So he just told me I looked like the Wolfman, and at the time I told my coach, I was like, hey, he said I look like the Wolfman. I've always wanted to be a werewolf. My coach was like, you know what, maybe we should just go with that as your nickname for fighting. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, So it just stuck. I've always been good at howling because, like I said, I've wanted to be a werewolf. So I practiced for a couple of years before fighting. So.
Well, that's good though. It's an organic nickname, not like some of these forced ones that we hear sometimes that are not so hot.
Someone just it tells themselves they're this nickname, and then they start telling people to call them the nickname.
Right.
It's a lot better when someone else gives it to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So by the looks of it, man, the Wolfman himself is set to make his official UFC debut in Denver against Chaz Skelly on November 10th. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. That's going down 2 months now.
Awesome.
Excited.
Give us your thoughts on Chaz as an opponent. How do you think you guys match up?
I think it's a really good matchup. I think he's very tough. He's a seasoned fighter. I mean, he's been in the UFC. I think he's had 9 fights in the UFC. I think he's 6-3. So he's a really tough guy, and he's good at what he does. But him and I are pretty similar. So what he does is kind of what I do, and some of his losses have come to people that fight similarly to myself. And I think I'll be able to get another loss on his record at November 10th.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's been in the UFC a while now, definitely a respectable name to make your debut against. Were you at all surprised that the UFC booked you against a guy with almost 10 fights in the company already?
No, I was kind of hoping for something big, I mean, obviously not like a huge name or anything, but he's been in the UFC for a while now, and he's had quite a few fights, so I really am enjoying the opportunity to fight somebody as good as Chaz is, and that's kind of what I wanted. I don't want to be, a journeyman fighting, just random guys kind of. I want to fight the toughest dudes and get to the top as quick as possible.
Right. This is a great opportunity to make your debut, make a big splash in the division, and get your name out there.
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, I talk about it all the time on the show, that there's so much talent out there, and you don't really know about them until they arrive. That being said, how pumped up are you to make your debut on this super stacked 25th anniversary card?
Oh, my God, I'm so excited. Frankie Edgar is one of my favorite fighters to watch. Like, his fights with Gray Maynard have been, like, just one of my favorite things to see, just, like, the heart that he shows, and to fight to have my debut on the same card that he headlines with him and Cerrone and Mike Perry. I've been around with some of the weigh-ins around Mike Perry, and he's just, like, hilarious. So, so I'm really excited for this. And Korean Zombie is awesome. He's come to the MMA lot before and trained, and I've got to meet him there, and this is going to be a really fun night. I'm really looking forward to that.
So it's very special for you, and you're pretty familiar with a lot of the guys on the main card and co-main event, or main event and co-main event rather.
Yeah, they probably don't know anything about me, but I definitely look up to these people, so it's pretty cool to be on the same card as them.
Right, right. Yeah, Mike Perry's a good friend of the show, and he is certainly a unique individual. That is to say the least.
Yes.
Yes,
but, he is.
Obviously, tons of great matchups, as we just talked about. What fight are you most excited for, aside from your own? It's sounding like you're most excited for Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that fight. Korean Zombie is like a really good fighter. He's really good on the ground. His last fight was that fight with Dennis Bermudez, where he just put him to sleep. So I'm really looking forward to this, because Frankie Edgar is one of the toughest guys in the featherweight division, and Korean Zombie, also is up there. What is his ranking in the top 15? I'm trying to think right now, but
I couldn't tell you offhand, but I know the inactivity went against him. However, I've always considered him, top 5 for sure. Yeah, because he didn't. He was fighting Jose. He lost to him by because he separated his shoulder. So yeah, and he was starting to get Jose there.
Yeah, so he's a great fighter to watch, and so is Frankie. And then obviously Cerrone and Mike Perry. That's just going to be ridiculousness, I feel like. So,
right. Yeah, for me it's the Cowboy. Yeah, for me it's the Cowboy and Mike Perry fight. That one is guaranteed to be a big show for the fans. So
yeah, fireworks for sure. So those two fights are really looking forward to watching.
So for everybody out there that isn't familiar with you just yet, give us a quick history lesson on how you got into martial arts and professional MMA competition.
Well, like I said earlier, I used to watch professional wrestling. I used to think that was like real fighting. So
we all did.
Eventually, everybody fell for it a little bit. So I think it was in 5th grade. I was talking to my friend. He told me he would do some crazy moves to people in wrestling, like a German suplex or something. I was like, you could do that in wrestling? I didn't know. I tried out wrestling in 3rd grade, didn't even like it. And so I went again in 6th grade after my friend told me about it, and I just love wrestling. It was just a good fit for me. I always liked the one-on-one aspect of it, so that always so that kind of got me in the door. And then after I graduated high school, I've been wrestling throughout all those years. I took some time off and I weightlifted it, and then I was telling my mom I wanted to be a fighter, and she went to see a dietitian, and the guy, she must have talked to him about me fighting, and he gave her a couple names of some gyms that I could go to around the area, and I went to one, and at the time it was called Brujo Jiu-Jitsu, so that was a pretty interesting place to be. And turned into the place that I would do majority of my training for all my fight career until the past 2 years. I got to the MMA lab. So it was a really long journey. Started off with wrestling, then jiu-jitsu, and then I met my boxing coach through my jiu-jitsu coach, and then I met through the MMA lab through my manager. So it was it's a long time, but
that's interesting, though. You say your mother was a big part of your career, getting a kickstart. I know usually mothers are very reluctant to have their kid get into fighting.
Yeah, I don't think she realized what she was doing. She doesn't like me fighting at all. Every time I fight, she goes, "Okay, so when are you gonna get a real job?" So she has yet to watch a fight of mine. Actually, even I win and then we have it recorded, she won't watch it. She doesn't like watching it. She's not into it at all. So it's kind of interesting how she's pretty much the reason how I was able to get into it, but also is one of the people that just doesn't like me doing it.
Right.
But yeah, without her going to that guy, dietitian once, I probably wouldn't be in this position right now. So she's a big influence for getting me here.
The journey is different and just as wild for everybody, man.
Yeah.
Who are some of your heroes in mixed martial arts? Who do you admire most in this game, past or present?
I mean, I always looked up to Randy Couture. I mean, when in my wrestling room, we had pictures of like past wrestlers, like Olympic and NCAA and stuff. And Randy Couture was one of the guys who was like demonstrating moves on these pictures that we'd have on the room, and I always liked seeing that. And then I saw him in the UFC, and I always liked that. And then Anderson Silva, I loved watching him fight. I mean, him and I aren't even close to the same kind of style, but watching him fight was always really fun. Frankie Edgar, obviously, I just talked about him earlier. Ben Henderson, I did his phone with him. So that's a huge thing. Because after Ben Henderson is like the reason why I didn't want to fight at lightweight, because I saw him and I said, I was like, there's no way I could fight a dude with legs that size. I was like, how the hell? Oh, sorry, I'm probably not supposed to say that.
No. You swear it up, man. We are.
Dude like that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're good. You're good. We're rated.
Okay.
We're rated mature audiences, so you're good.
All right, sweet. So he was one of the reasons why I was like, maybe I should go to featherweight instead of be a lightweight. And luckily I did that, because I'm not. I barely get heavy, and I see a lot of lightweights, and they're all like 180 or more. So.
Right.
Yeah, but those are kind of like the people I've looked up to coming up.
Certainly all good names and good choices. Randy Couture in particular, a great role model for anybody. But, you know, being around so many talented guys in the gym and having an amazing coach like John are all very important to an athlete coming up, and also being around one of the best examples of a guy who made the best moves for himself and his family in your training partner, and a guy that you say you've looked up to, Benson Henderson. That's got to be incredibly beneficial to you, right?
Yeah, it's life changing. Honestly, like if I wasn't in the position that I was in, you know, if I wasn't with these people, I don't think this journey I wouldn't be in the place where I'm at. You know, I feel like it was like the perfect fit. I mean, I just can't even explain how grateful I am to have gotten into this position, to learn from John Crouch, to train with Ben Henderson, and everybody at the gym. I mean, it's not just Ben. You know, obviously, you have Ben. You have Ben, who's a big example of how to do it and to get to the top and be the best in the world. And then you have all these other fighters that we train with that are also getting there and striving to be the best in the world, and they're great examples too to learn from. And it's just been amazing. I love everything about it.
Yeah, for sure. There's countless other talent in that gym to look up to and aspire to as well. But, you know, the reason I mentioned Benson is he made the right moves for his career. And I think it's so important for the sport in its entirety for you younger guys to realize your value early on and make sure you get the best deals that you possibly can in this game. You know, it sickens me to think that people are still getting paid 10 and 10 on the undercard.
Yeah. That's, there's I totally understand that. When I look at it, I've never had a lot of money in my life, so 10 and 10 to me is like, I'm like rich. So,
right, it's life changing. So, no, I understand that. I understand that.
So, but I completely understand that. I mean, I get the fact that we're going out there, and sometimes you have a fight, you get 10 and 10, and then you might get injured, you might be out a whole year, so then you're living off of $20,000, and that's not a lot to live off of. You know, these people have lives. So I see that there are negatives and stuff, but honestly, for me, I don't want anyone to take advantage of the fact, but I would, if I could be the best in the world and fight for free, I would do it, you know? This is what I was put here to do. You know, that's how I feel about it. And making money isn't the thing that I think about. Being the best is what I want to be. So.
I think that speaks volumes to your motivations in this business, and it sounds to me like you really are a martial arts purist. Yeah,
I don't think any martial art is perfect. I think just fighting and learning the moves that you master. I feel like not the motivations for fighting is different for me than a lot of other people. I think I don't fight for the money. Like I said, I want to go out there and prove that I could be the best fighter in the world, and that's why I do this.
Absolutely. And the nice part about your situation is the exposure from being on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, and the fact that it seems like the UFC is really pushing the guys and gals coming out of that show. Do you think you'll get the same treatment?
I mean, I would hope so, but I'm not banking on them treating me the same way as some of the other guys. All I know is when they put me out there, they want me to perform, and that's exactly what I'm here to do. They signed me because they think I can win. That's how I see it.
Right.
So I'm going to go out there and beat everyone they put in front of me, and then I'm going to be put in a position where you can ignore me. I'm going to put myself in a position where people can't ignore me. So I'm going to get that push. That's all I know.
Right. I talk about that a lot with up and comers and contenders and prospects, future contenders. All you got to do is keep winning, and then at a certain point you become undeniable.
Yeah, exactly, and that's my plan. That's why I like this fight with Chaz, because they didn't give me somebody who is 1-0 or 0-1 or been in the UFC for 2 fights so far or something like that. They're giving me somebody who's 6-3. He's a really good fighter. He's a top 30 something in the world at featherweight. So it's a big jump for me, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go out there and prove to everybody that this is what I was meant to do, and this is the shot that I deserve, and I'm out here to be the best. So I'm looking forward to it.
Now, is this fight going to be televised on FS1, or is it going to be Fight Pass prelim, or do you even know that yet?
I honestly have no idea. It might be on FS1, but I don't know the details of I didn't really read the contract, I skimmed it and decided that I was like, what am I going to read? Am I going to say no to the UFC, So it's just like I signed, put my initials down, and it's like, this is what I'm here to do, so
right,
and you put in front of me, I got it.
Yeah, and that's what good management is for, right?
Yeah. I trust my manager when he tells me, this is the fight that we're going to be taking, and I think he knows what I know he knows what he's doing. He's gotten me a lot of he's had me my entire professional career, so I know the choices he makes are the right choices for me.
Yep, very important. Just another aspect to all the working pieces that come together to make a great fighter, and I have no doubt that you are well on your way, my friend. But listen, you've been more than generous with your time. Just a couple more questions here for you. Assuming you get the win on November 10th, you come out uninjured. Do you think you could go 2-0 in the UFC before the end of the year, or do you plan on taking some time off after this one?
I would love to go 2-0 before the end of the year. I think it was the beginning of the year when I had a fight in January. After that fight, I told myself I was going to have 6 more fights by the end of the year. Then again, I didn't think I was going to get to the UFC in the middle of it, but I mean, I could be on track for 2 more fights, definitely. So I'm going to stay ready after this next fight. Hopefully, no injuries or anything occur during or right after, so I can get right back into shape. Well, I won't be out of shape, stay in shape, and get something short notice or set something up. December, was it 29th? Is that the end of the year card? So,
right. What a better card to get on, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind fighting there. I mean, I'd miss my favorite meals for Christmas, but I think the UFC is willing to miss a couple meals.
It's funny you say that. Every time I'm interviewing guys who are in a camp during the holidays, I always make it a point to mention, how are you doing avoiding all the food? And they're all like, "Oh man, this sucks. It's so awful."
Yeah, it all the times I've fought around the holidays. I don't really care too much about Thanksgiving, but missing Christmas dinner with my mom's family is that's painful. that's my favorite meal that I've ever eaten in my life. So,
what is that?
It's so my mom makes some homemade Italian noodles,
wow.
And then we have red sauce, and then she makes some spicy breadcrumbs for the noodles, and then we have baked chicken that you cook. You bake, and then you finish cooking in the red sauce. And then my mom makes some homemade Italian bread, and it's just a lot of carbs, and it's great. It's a great meal, but it's definitely not one you could eat cutting weight,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, I'm from Rhode Island. There's a lot of great Italian cooking up here, and it is delicious. But like you said, it is carb overload for sure. So
yes, yeah. My sister lives in Rhode Island, and we went to a pretty good spot out in Providence. I forgot what it was called, but it was by some pier. I forgot. I'm terrible at knowing names of places.
No, it's all right.
My sister lives out there.
Yeah, so it probably wasn't Federal Hill. You were probably down by a pier, huh? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it was down near, I think it's near downtown Providence.
Capriccio?
Dang. It might be that.
I
think it was that.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. Let's call it Capriccio. Let's say it's that place.
All right, fair enough. Well, there's countless good ones up here. So the next time you visit your sister, you'll have to explore a bit more. But listen, man. In conclusion, tell us how you visualize this UFC debut turning out. How does your hand get raised, and why does everybody need to make sure that they tune in for your fight?
All right. Well, I'm definitely going to win this fight. So I think this fight's going to be really tough. The first round's going to be a rough one. He's going to be full of energy and pushing the pace on me. But I think in the second round, that's when the fight's going to start going south for him noticeably. And I'm going to get the finish near the end of the second round, probably with a choke. You know what? I'm just going to say I'm going to Darce choke him in the second round. Let's hope I get that.
Right. Go with what's got you to the party, right? That's for sure, man.
Yeah, let's just keep Darcing people until they can stop it. I'll just do that.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth
so November 10th. Check it out. Let me get that W.
All right, Bobby, listen, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Hopefully we can catch up again after a big win. Very much looking forward to the fight and all that the future has in store for you, my friend. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours. Any shout-outs, sponsor plugs, or anything you think we missed?
We got everything pretty much. Thanks to the MMA Lab, Scott Mitchell Chiropractic, cracking my back, making me feel good, and my manager, Rick Monteleone. Thank you.
Awesome. Again, greatly appreciate your time today, my friend. Have a great training camp. We'll catch up again soon, and next time you're in Rhode Island, man, give me a holler. We'll bring you to some good seafood spots.
Ooh, I will, man. Thank you, Jason. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure. Anytime. And again, we'll catch up after you get the big W on November 10th.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you then.
All right, buddy.
All right. Bye.
Later. Now, Bobby comes from a great camp. You heard it there. He has a champion mentality already. Definitely keep your eye on him. And make sure you tune into his fight, November 10th, UFC Denver. Coming up next, UFC light heavyweight, the Brown Bear himself, Jackson Wink team member, Devin Clark. All right, Penn Nation, please welcome back to the show, former RFA champ, tough alumni, and current UFC light heavyweight, the man they call the Brown Bear, Devin Clark. Welcome back to the show, Devin. How has your summer been so far, man?
Oh, it's been good. Been real good. Just been, hanging out a lot, enjoying everything. Hanging out with the family and training, of course.
Of course. What have you been up to besides, staying busy in the gym, doing anything fun, maybe vacations, traveling a bit?
Well, I got married in June.
Oh, so that's right. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was the good time. And, then fishing a lot. I love to fish. So, and, I stay busy with that and whatnot. So, yeah.
Very good. Listen, before we jump into things, did you watch the Canelo Triple G fight last night?
I did not watch it. No, I heard it was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, it was very close. I was just interested to hear your scorecard if you had watched it, but...
I haven't reviewed it yet, but it sounds like it was, too close to really call.
Right,
a lot of people said Triple G won.
Yeah, another tight one, but...
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully there's a trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, they put on good fights.
Absolutely. Now, listen, man, last time we spoke, you had been campaigning for the fight with Anthony Smith for UFC Lincoln. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition, but you have been waiting to sign a contract for a while, it seems. What took so long, in your opinion?
I really don't know. The UFC, they do what they want to do, and it seems to be they have a long-term plan for everybody. So, however that worked out for their planning, it's obviously I wanted to fight sooner. I wanted to fight this summer. But so by the time I do fight in December, it'll be almost about 8 months. And the way I've learned to look at it, instead of, act like I've been neglected or something, but I look at it as it's made me more hungry. You starve a dog, you're going to get an angry dog. So it's definitely helped me grow. And, the time off, I've had plenty of time to work on things. So, I think it turned out to be a good deal.
Right, that's a great way to look at it, man. All the time away, not only have you been able to further hone your skills, but that hunger really does start to take over. So when you get in there, the motivation is at an all-time high, would you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to kill this guy like never before, and I've never met him, never even talked to him, but for some reason I want to kill this guy, and I don't know if that's due to the time off or what, but I don't go into too many fights kind of angry or targeting the opponent personally. It's usually more of a sport type deal, but personally I want to hurt this guy, and that's the way I'm looking at right or wrong, that's how I'm looking at this fight.
All right, speaking of this guy, kind of difficult. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to butcher his name here, but you're slated to face Aleksander Rakic.
Rakic. I call him Rakic. I don't know.
Okay, all right. On December 8th, UFC 231. He's 2-0 in the UFC, relatively unknown to most of the world. What can you tell us about the guy, and how do you think you guys match up?
He's supposedly a tough European fighter. He's got a pretty good, European fan base, and everybody seems to think he's just going to kill me just because he has a little bit of striking. But we all know you need a little more than some striking. So I think I match up real well. I just got done watching a little bit of video on him again, and I don't think he's ready for what I can deliver in the cage. His last two opponents, they were kind of respecting his range too much and letting him control the cage. And a guy like this, if you let him control the cage, he's gonna beat the shit out of you just because he's got range. He's 6'4" or whatever. You have to control that inner space, and which that's something that I can do. I can put the pressure on and move with him because he's got decent footwork. And his last opponent was coming from the heavyweight division and stood right in front of him, and he got his butt kicked. So
right. Well, you kind of touched on what I was going to bring up next. At 6'5", it's going to be an interesting test for you in regards to range. However, you know, I'd be willing to bet that you feel like the wrestling is going to make a huge difference in this fight.
Absolutely. That range kind of goes out the window when you get a guy like me that can close the distance and do it in a very quick fashion. Obviously, I have to watch out a little bit more for his counter punches because he is a really good striker. So, you know, that's something that, you know, that's the easy thing to be aware of. And another thing, you know, I train with tall people. So I've, you know, a few guys that are, you know, 6'3" plus, and I train with John Jones. He's got the range, you know, he's got the biggest range. So, you know, I'm not all that concerned about that. My last opponent, he was 6'3", 6'4". Even he had like 82-inch reach or something like that. You know, that was a thing that came into factor in that fight, but I was able to deal with it with my wrestling and closing that distance.
For sure, for sure. Now, obviously, this isn't the fight that you were looking for, but I can only imagine how excited you are to finally get back in there and, like you were just talking about, kind of take out some of the stress that you've been having of being sidelined for so long on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really like this matchup, and it wasn't what I wanted, but he does have enough hype around him and enough people that are 100% counting me out that it makes it a fun fight. And he is a tough fight, so I really enjoy tough fights. Those are the fights that it's easy for me to get up for tough fights when I know it's a tough fight. It changes my personality about it. So, you know, I really enjoy this matchup.
Now, having just 2 fights this year, not only must that be tough for you as a competitor, but how has that been for you financially?
Oh man, it's tight. It's you know, and it's, you know, you get into cage fighting as a career, the money doesn't come that quick. You gotta keep grinding for it and keep grinding for it, and hopefully one day it'll pay off. And shit, it might not, but at some point you have to love to do the sport. And you know, as long as you're making enough money to get by, you're in the green. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, it does get tight, but in between fights. But it's, you know, that's why you gotta win.
Right.
You know, if you don't win, that's half your paycheck. So I mean, that's motivation in itself as well. And you can't really let one overlook the other, because both those factors are there. You got the competition and you got the money. You know, this is a job and you need that money. So yeah, you gotta win.
You know, you make a great point there. Not only does it not come fast, or often rather, the money, but it goes just as quick. Well, when you have all these things to pay for that you've been accumulating over a fight camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you got training, family, and then if you want to have some fun,
right,
you know, or buy anything extra, I just got a newer pickup, so you got to pay for that. So definitely, you know, it'd be nice to get like a fight bonus or something like that, but definitely at least a win. Just secure the bag, as they say. So,
would you just got some new wheels? What'd you get?
2015 Denali pickup.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. It fits me a little better than my Kia did. I bought my Kia Optima brand new in 2012. It was a 2013, and this was when I think it was right around the time I went pro. And I knew I was going to be traveling a lot, going to different camps and stuff like that. So I had that car for 5 years, and I drove all over the country with it. It served its purpose. And now that I know where I need to drive, you know,
right.
I drive down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that's it, you know. So I know where I'm going, even though it's a little bit of a road trip for a pickup. But, you know, it was time to move up. And I hunt and fish a lot. And I also do, like, construction type stuff and construction projects. And it doesn't get beat up as much as the Kia Optima did, because I was doing all that out of that Kia.
Wow. Well, I can only imagine trying to load up a Kia with you know, dry cement and all that stuff. That's got to be intense.
I can't say that hasn't been done in that Kia. So pretty much I go whatever I can fit in there, or whatever tools I needed, I got it done. So yeah. But now it's on to the big pickup. Of course, it's more expensive, so that's why I just got to keep winning and get those fight bonuses. For
sure, man, for sure. Now, assuming you make a statement on December 8th, you'll be going into 2019 with a lot of momentum, and the bigger fights are there for you after that, right?
Yeah, I almost have to make a big statement here. They've given me, you know, they give me a big opportunity against Jan to prove myself, and I kind of blew that. made a mental error and got submitted by him, even though he's really good. But I felt like I could have won that fight. Yeah, just mental judgment and fatigue got me there. So yeah, I need to make a big statement at this fight, and then move on from there. And Jan is in the back of my mind. I do want that fight back. He just won last night. He's number 4 in the world. It's a fight I know I can win, so that's even more motivation to keep just running through these guys, my next opponents, and get back to where I need to be.
Yeah, I remember we discussed that last time. That shot at redemption against Jan is definitely on your radar. What did you think of his performance last night?
Oh, it was great. He's and he hasn't really changed a whole lot. He keeps working at what he does good, and that's what he comes and does in his fights.
Right, a lot of consistency.
Impressive. Yeah, he was consistent, and his grappling is pretty good. When that dude is strong, when he gets a hold of your neck, it's a done deal. Because when he submitted me, that's something I shouldn't have even tapped on. I've never raced to tap when I'm getting choked, and for whatever reason, the way he had it is like I'm dying right now, so I had to tap. But no, he looked good, and especially in his fight before that against Jimmy Manuwa, just totally slaughtered him. And that was a lot of striking. So he's on his way, and hopefully I can intercept him. So
yeah, and that kind of goes back to obviously it's having a loss against a guy like that. A loss always sucks, but seeing a guy like that doing so well, that's got to make you feel comfortable that this is where you belong and you deserve to be at the top as well.
Yeah, I do think about it that way, but then on the other hand, you look at these other guys that he's beat too, and you're like, well, those guys aren't that great. But
true.
But some of the guys he has beat are really good. I mean, Jimmy Manuwa is no joke at all. And the guy he fought last night was pretty decent. But at the end of the day, it's still a loss, and I can't really give too many excuses for that or feel good about it. But
true.
Knowing what I can do and knowing what he can do, it does make me confident for the future.
Absolutely. So listen, man, changing gears here for a moment. Being that you're a Jackson Wink team member, and there's been some drama coming out of that camp with Cowboy Cerrone and all that fallout, I wanted to get your take on all that, man. How do you see it from your perspective?
Man, I do my camps down there. I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I go down there for pretty much like 2 months at a time for my training camps. So, I'm on the team. I'm in there, but I haven't been around lately when all this is going on. But I think it's something that was fueled more by media than actually by them, and something that at some point someone's like, oh, this is probably going to happen. Let's schedule this fight because there's going to be drama around it. And that's exactly what happened. So I think it makes for a good fight, entertaining fight. The lead up is, insane, especially with those two. They're both pretty vocal and kind of just on their own in terms of character, I should say.
Yeah,
so,
that's for sure.
It kind of makes a fun deal, but, at the same time, it sucks that, two teammates or whatever, or it kind of split up a team a little bit, because Cowboy's he's always been a big part of that team. And for him to just kind of split ways like that, which I understand he wasn't in there all that much, but, it's still that'd be nice to have them on good terms, in which I'm sure they will be after this fight.
Right, and you make a great point there. For all we know, the matchmaking, they knew this was going to happen, so hey, let's book this fight. There'll be plenty of drama to pull off of and promote this one. So.
Oh yeah, and people in the media. Then once you release that, the media just pokes at it and pokes at it and pokes at it.
Of course, I've been guilty of poking myself. So.
Yeah, that's your job, though. And that all stemmed off the Ariel Helwani show, and we know he's good at that too. So it's like, it worked out good for entertainment value of it.
Right. Cowboy made some serious accusations, man. Left everyone kind of with the impression that the gym is more about the money than building world-class fighters these days. I'm sure that when you're down there, that's a completely different story, though.
Oh, yeah. That's not the case at all. You can kind of look at, okay, Mike Perry came in here, and the coaches are just going to, accept him like that. blah, blah, blah. And I think that just kind of, it got, put a bad taste in Cowboy's mouth. And knowing Cowboy, he had to say something about it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And, it's not just, they don't do it just for the money. Those coaches love what they're doing. I work with Mike Winklejohn and Chad Smith the most. Those guys put their heart into my craft. So I can never say that they're in it just for the money.
Right. Now, speaking of the team, man, I know you say you haven't been down there in a bit. By the way, when do you plan on going down to Jackson Wink? When do you officially start camp for this fight?
October.
October, okay.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow, but camp starts tomorrow. But I'll be in Jackson Wink October. So.
Okay. Now, everybody's waiting to hear about the return of Jon Jones, man. As far as you know, how often is he in the gym, and how close do you think we are to having an announcement of his return?
I really don't know. I talk to him here and there, but, I don't really ask him too much about all that stuff. That's kind of his business, and, when it happens, it happens. I'm sure sometime this year he'll be returning. I don't see them putting him off that long. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything, smooths out and he's back to being the champ again. Get the doughboy out of there,
I know that you guys are tight and get to train together, and obviously it's incredibly beneficial for you to work with a great like Jon Jones on the day-to-day when you're down there. But has there been any talk about him helping you get ready, or vice versa? If he has a camp, you guys will probably be helping each other get ready.
Every time I've been down there, he's helped me out.
Right.
If he's not in the gym or whatever, I go to where he's at, or we make it work. But it's one of those deals. I invested in him when he had a camp, and he always said he'd return the favor, and that's exactly what he's done. So, and just working with Jon is something in itself. So anytime I'm working with him, it's helping me and it's helping him as well. So,
without a doubt, one of the best in the world. Iron sharpens iron, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, and when you find somebody you can click with on a, especially on like a workout level, because you have people that work out, you have fighters that are good at working out or whatever, but when you have someone that will push it like you can push it, and have no doubt about that, it's a beautiful thing. You both end up just getting insanely better.
Right, matching the intensity. That's important.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's I feel like it's a wrestling thing. Because growing up in wrestling in these rooms, you're competing against your teammates, and it's really a competition in there, who can win, and then at the end of the day, it comes out in competition against other teams. So, yeah,
absolutely. That's a grind that unless you've been in it from a young age, it's very hard to understand. So,
yeah, I mean, if you haven't done it, it's because it sucks. Wrestling sucks. The workouts suck. Like, it's hard. You're beat up, just like MMA. And in those wrestling rooms, they even a lot of times they're known to go harder, and not really respect like rest and stuff like that. So at least how I grew up wrestling in high school and even in college. So
especially at that age, there's so much machismo going on too,
Yeah, and they let it flow though. They let it flow. They let you work yourself to death, and somehow you end up being able to handle it. And that's why wrestlers make great MMA fighters, because you can handle the grueling rounds and the grueling training and the stress and all that, simply just because you wrestled your whole life.
For sure. Definitely the best base to have in this game. But listen, man, you've been more than generous with your time, as always. I just have a couple more questions here for you. Getting back to the fight, December 8th, I know it's early to make any kind of prediction, but how do you visualize this fight playing out?
Shit, I don't, I thought about it a little bit, but it's really hard to say, because for what I have to do, anything could really happen. It could be where I take him down and beat the crap out of him the whole round, get a TKO, or it might be a one-hit flash, The way he fights and the way I fight, anything could really happen. And that's really an exciting deal about this fight. And so, yeah, I'm just excited about it. And of course, though, I'm going to win. I have to win this fight. And I have to prove a point, as always. And that's always what I'm looking at, getting better and earning my respect. You can't get respect if you don't earn it. So for me to do that, I have to get a good finish for this guy.
Yep, go out there and make a statement like we talked about earlier. For all the fans out there that have been waiting to see you back in competition and that have supported you along the way, what would you say to them?
Oh, just thank you, and you know, keep on watching the show. I'm only going to get better. I'm still young. I'm 28 years old, not even in my prime yet. Still figuring stuff out. This fight game, it's crazy things. You learn so many new things are introduced to you all the time, and to hone one thing is really hard to do. So yeah, I'm just working my way up, working my craft, getting better and better, being the best me I can be. And thanks again for all the fans and supporters that have, you know, stuck with me all these years.
All right, awesome. Well said, my friend. And in conclusion, the floor is yours. Any shout-outs or sponsor plugs before we let you go?
I just want to, you know, just to my opponent, Aleksander, I'm going to kick your ass. That's about it. If anybody get the word to him, let him know. Don't listen to his followers. That's going to get his ass kicked.
All right, I love it. Already hyping the fight up. Thanks again for your time today, Devin. I'm certainly looking forward to this matchup. Hopefully we can catch up again when it's a little closer to December 8th. Till next time, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful training camp.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Later. Always a pleasure speaking with Devin. Consummate professional and a very talented guy who is really just getting started. Make sure you guys watch his fight. We'll probably catch up with him before UFC 231. But for the time being, go check out some highlights, get familiar with the Brown Bear. So moving on, our final guest for this episode, number 10 ranked UFC welterweight, set to take on Neil Magny in Argentina on November 17th. Of course, the man himself, Santiago Ponzinibbio. All right, Penn Nation, please welcome to the show the number 10 ranked welterweight in the UFC and yet another talented product of American Top Team, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Thanks for joining us today, Santiago. How are things in South Florida, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? Hello, everybody. Thank you for the interview, man. Everything's good here in Florida, man. Everything's good. The training's good. Always good.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have good relationships with a lot of the guys over at ATT. We just had Colby on the show a few days ago. Yourself, Colby, Gamebred Masvidal, you guys are taking over the welterweight division, it seems.
Yep. It's a lot of guys. The welterweight division in UFC. A lot of guys. For he, no more, but Robbie Lauer, Tyron Woodley, training here. Now no more. Tyron Shaw not training too much here, but a lot of guys, man. Thiago Alves, you know, Masvidal, Colby, a lot of guys. Yeah. Welterweight division is crazy.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, as they say, and obviously you've got a lot of great teammates to work with on a day-to-day basis. But listen, before we get into the announcement of the matchup and everything, did you get a chance to watch Canelo Triple G last night?
Yeah, for sure. I love boxing, man. I love boxing. I watched the fight. Exciting fight, man. Really high level. Close fight, really high level. But I think is this one GGG, you know, Golovkin. But you know, Canelo puts good shots in the body, maybe more higher punches, but they use the distance, the jab, you know. If the Golovkin, I think if the Golovkin won the fight for really close, but I think the Golovkin won the fight.
Yeah, I saw it the same way. I gave it to Golovkin as well. Do you think there'll be a third fight now?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really exciting. The third fight is the best boxer in the actuality now. No, it's a really great show. The victory is for the fans for see this fight. You know, it's an amazing fight. You know. For the people who love the boxing, and for sure the third fights are really good, man.
Yeah, I hope to see the trilogy as well. So listen, man, you know, speaking of fighting, of course, being a fighter yourself, it was just announced that this matchup with Neil Magny on November 10th But before we get into that, I was wondering if you could give us an update on the injury that forced you out of the fight with Kamaru Usman. I'd assume that you're back at 100% now.
Yeah. It's I have the main event, no, in Argentina. First time in the history UFC moved to Argentina. Really exciting for the opportunity, no. That dream for me, have the main event, the principal fight for the UFC, the best company in the world, It's really good opportunity. Now I am recovered 100%. I feel good, My hand is good. I cut the ligament. I broke a little bit of my bone. I have a surgery. I have the new ligament. I clean the bone, and now it's still 100%. I'm training very well. I feel really good, man. I really feel really good for November 17th. This is a exciting opportunity for me. I think Magny is a great fighter. He have a lot of victories in the welterweight division. He beat tough names in the division, but for sure I believe I am better with him, and I finish this guy, man. Yeah, I take my belt. I am ready for the belt. Just I need the opportunity,
Absolutely. Now, real quick, just to stay on the recovery from the injury, you mentioned you got the ligament replaced. Did you do the cadaver, or did you get the synthetic ligament?
What?
You mentioned you had a ligament replaced for, to recover from the injury. Was that a cadaver ligament, or was it a synthetic one?
No, I cut the ligament, the hand. This is cut. I need to have the new ligament. Take a piece the tendon and have the ligament.
Oh, okay, right.
The surgery, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but now I stay 100%.
Awesome.
I recover very well. I training good. I train everything I can do. Everything I feel good. I still ready for November, man.
Now, we haven't seen you compete since December of 2017. That's almost a year away from action, man. You must be very excited to finally get back in there.
For who?
I was saying we haven't seen you in competition since December of 2017. That's almost a year away from competition. You must be very excited to get back in there and compete.
Yeah, for sure, man. I am really excited for that, man. I'm really excited. I need to buy, I need to fight. I'm excited for this fight, man. Everything is good, man. Everything is good. It's really good, My last fight in December, I beat Mike Perry. I think I still in the level for the top 5 for the best fighters in the world. I have a lot of fights. The division, 6 victories in a row, 3 knockouts in the first round. I beat the number 8 in the world in 82 seconds the last year. I think this ranking is no makes sense. That makes sense. I stay ranking number 10 now, but that doesn't matter for me. I don't put my focus on that. I am ready for this fight, for finish this fight. I go for the war, for UFC. I am ready for the belt, man. This is my place. I think the best top fighters in the world. I fight for the belt too.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, the ranking system certainly is silly, especially for the fact that they don't use it. I mean, you could be ranked wherever you're ranked. They're going to make the money fights 9 out of 10 times, and unfortunately, the rankings don't even seem to matter anymore.
That makes sense, man. I beat the number 8 in the world in 82 seconds. A really good fight. After that, I beat Mike Perry. Why reason I stay number 10? This no make sense. Minimum, I need to stay number 7. Minimum in the ranking, It doesn't matter, different for different guys, same shit, But I don't put focus in that. I don't care. I have my fight. I am ready. I beat Magny. I'm ready for the belt. If I need to have 5 fights more, I do. I finish my fight. I take my belt. I am ready.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, that's for sure. And like you said, you can't really focus on the the nonsense of the ranking system. You just got to go in there and do the work, and eventually you'll get to that title. But, you know, you mentioned the UFC coming to Argentina. I'd imagine that's going to be very special for you, you know, being of Argentinian nationality. Not only huge support, not only a huge opportunity for you, but also breaking the UFC into a new market. That's awesome, right, man? I'd imagine you're going to have a lot of friends and family there.
No, for sure, man. I'm really excited, man. This is a really big chance, you know. When I started my career in Argentina. I got my first 7 fights, professionals in Argentina. You know, I the first guy start this sport in Argentina, you know. It's a new sport in Argentina. And when I start, the people don't understand. When I move to Brazil, the people say, this guy is crazy, you know. Move to Brazil for training, no have money. What is the thing to do? Now I back to my country for make the main event, the most biggest company in the world, MMA. This is really good, man. For my family, my friends, stay in the place, see me live, and it's a really good opportunity.
So this is probably a bit of a homecoming for you, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Now, I know you talked about him a bit there, but give us your thoughts on Magny as an opponent. How happy are you with this matchup as far as how you guys match up stylistically?
Sorry, I understand what?
I know you talked about Neil a little bit before, but, you know, give us your thoughts on how you guys match up stylistically.
I think when he feel my pressure, he tried to put me down, using your grappling. But he is completely guy, no? He will have a little bit everything, you know. A little bit striking, a little bit grappler. He's good level in everything. But, you know, I don't care what is the playing the him. I don't care, man. I always, when I go to the fight, I put the focus on me and my plan, and that's it, man. When I go to the cage, I go to finish my fight, and I have my strategy, and that's it, man. I take this victory.
Now, both your teammates, Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington, they've been trying to fight Neil Magny for a while now, and he was not taking the fights with them. Why do you think he agreed to sign against you?
I don't know, man. For what reason he take the fight with me?
Yeah. I mean, you know, Masvidal and Covington, they had been trying to fight Neil for a while. He wouldn't take a fight with either one of those guys, but yet he decides to fight you. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, man. I don't know for what reason he accepted the fight with me, but this is a big mistake for him, man. It's a big mistake for him. I finish this guy. I will go to the next step.
Yeah, now as you mentioned, you know, Neil he's ranked number 8 at 170, has wins over former champions like you were talking about. A dominant performance in November should not only move you up the ladder, but you should be considered as a possible contender for the title, right?
Yeah, man. I think, you know, for my career, for my victories, you know, he is a big name. He beat 2 ex-champions, you know, Johnny Hendricks, Carlos Condit. He have a good victories, you know. He beat Kevin Gastelum, Hector Lombard. Good names. It's a good name. Neil Magny have a lot of victories in the division. It's a good name, you know. I repeat, I don't care about the rankings. I beat Gunnar Nelson in July the last year in 82 seconds in a main event, a beautiful knockout. I finished him, you know. After that, Jimmy Perry is a tough guy. He's not a ranking guy, but he's a tough guy. He's a prospector. I beat him. You know, after that, Jimmy Magny, I think for the names, I have the victories. I have good victories in a big names. No, you know, I won the Neil Magny, Nordine Taleb, Seth Cummings. It's good welterweight, you know. So I victory in November. It's my 7th victory in a row. I have a good performance. I'm ready for the belt for sure.
Yeah, I agree, man. And like you're saying, it's not so much about the rankings. It's about getting the win over the big names. But, you know, you've managed to go 8-2 in the UFC in one of the toughest divisions. You look better every time we see you out there. Safe to say that you're just getting started, right?
Yeah. I agree. I think that the welterweight is the most competitive division today in the UFC. It's a lot of good fighters. Yeah, man. I have my work, you know. I have my work good, you know. I have good victories. I finish my opponents. You know. I am ready, brother. I am ready. Just needed the opportunity. But now my focus is November 17th, main event in Argentina. This is my focus now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you look at the rest of the division, man, what sets you apart from the group, in your opinion?
For the rest of the division?
Yeah. What sets you apart from the rest of those guys, in your opinion?
These are good guys. The welterweight, I think, is the most exciting division. The UFC is the most. I think it's the most athletic club in the all division. The UFC is a lot of guys. Welterweight. It's a really high level. You know, really good guys. But you know, I repeat, I don't care about the level the other guys. I know where is my level. I know I am ready for the champion. I know I fight tomorrow with Tyron Woodley. I want him. I am ready. I have the plan for one him or for one for anybody in this division. You know, all my fights is good fights. I control my opponent. I won decision. I control my opponent. I won decision in the house of my opponent, or I finish the fight in the first round. You know, it's my victory is clear. I prove I am ready for the belt. You know, I repeat, the rankings doesn't matter, but I don't care, man. I beat Neil Magny in November 17th, and I am ready for the belt.
Give us your thoughts on Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley, assuming that fight does happen.
Yeah, I think this fight happens. It's really good fight, man. High levels, wrestling, good fight, good move for the division. I think this fight is the next fight for Tyron, but you know, UFC don't have rules. I don't know what is the real happens, but I think it's the next move.
Yeah, it makes sense. Who would you pick in that one?
50-50. I think it's Tyron have a power, no, for knockout, but Colby really good condition, and if Colby pass the third round, he put you play, maybe Tyron started, you know, if he take the victory, it's like the boss have a chance, you know, maybe 50-50.
Right. If it's a finish, it'll likely be Tyron, and if it goes to the later rounds, Colby will have the advantage. If Colby wins the title, where does that put you in regards to you fighting for the belt? Are you willing to fight your teammate?
What? For the fighting the teammates?
Yeah, I mean, if Colby wins the belt, if Colby fights Tyron and he wins, how does that work for you? I mean, are you willing to fight him for the title?
Yeah, for the title shot, there's you know, all people. You know, I think it's for the title shot. It's a big opportunity for both fighters, and if you know, this is this is a chance, no? If he take the belt, if he stay the champion, he had victory. My next fight, maybe, you know, we fight. This is a chance. We stay in the same, you know, the same move that you do, so maybe.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, man. If it's for the title, you kind of got to fight your teammate, right? So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's for the belt, you know. It's make sense, you know, for the belt.
Yeah.
But this is a big opportunity for the both athletes. But it's not good for if the fight is not for the belt, no makes sense, you know.
Right.
No makes sense for we train in the same place. Some coach, you know, no makes sense. But if for the belt, it's different.
Right. I agree. So listen, getting back to November 17th, assuming you get the win, how active do you want to be in 2019? Do you feel like you kind of got to make up for some lost time this past year?
Yes. November 17. I don't know what happened after this victory, but I waiting for the next fight for sure.
How many times do you think you'll fight next year?
Next year, I like to fight 3 times a year, always, you know. But this year is crazy. I never have injury, but you know, I take injury in the start of the year, and after that, when I get ready for August, September, I told UFC said me, no, I need wait until November for Argentina. Okay, you know.
Right.
It's a crazy year, you know. Just only one fight a year. It's not good. Always I fight 3 times a year. I like that, but you know, for this year, it's a special year, but I don't care. This is the past. I have this fight in November, maybe January, February, I back to fight, you know. Before a title, perfect, you know, a title, no problem. I fight, I won, I continue my way, you know.
Absolutely. Marching towards that belt, my friend. How do you visualize the fight playing out with Magny? I'd imagine you feel like you're going to get the finish?
I finished this fight for sure. I am ready for finish this fight.
All right. And in conclusion, my friend, for all the South American fans out there and all the fans across the world for that matter, why do they need to make sure that they tune in for UFC Fight Night 140?
See this fight, man. See this fight. See the best Santiago Ponzinibbio, the whole fight. I am ready, I am excited, I am hungry, you know, a lot of months, no fight. The people see for what reason I told I am ready for the belt. The people understand I am the next champion of this division. Just need to see my fight in November 17th.
All right, Santiago. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, my friend. I hope we can catch up again when the fight gets a little closer. Before we let you go, the floor is yours, man. Any sponsor plugs or shout-outs you want to get in?
What? Repeat, so I understand.
Yeah, I was just saying any sponsors you want to thank or coach shout-outs, anything like that?
Coach Sabat?
No, any sponsors you want to thank?
No sponsors, man.
Okay. All right, no problem, brother. All right, again, I greatly appreciate your time today. I know it was a little bit hectic trying to line this up, but it was a pleasure speaking with you. I hope we can catch up again soon. I hope you have a great day and an even better training camp, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for the interview. Sorry for my English. I try my best, but you know, thank you, and thank you for all fans, all people. See you November 17th.
All right, very much looking forward to it, man. And I think your English was just fine. I can understand you, brother.
Okay, man. Have a good day.
All right, you too, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Later. All right, folks, there you have it. Another episode in the books. BJPenn.com radio, the fighter's voice. I greatly appreciate all of you tuning in. Make sure you guys follow us on social media, both BJPenn radio and BJPenn.com. Stay up to date on the sport that we all love of mixed martial arts. And as I mentioned earlier, make sure you set up alerts. Get the news as it breaks. On behalf of the whole team, everybody on the squad, I'm your host, Jay Kinch. Thank you again for tuning in. And before we let you go for this episode, mixed martial arts had a terrible loss of Norifumi Kid Yamamoto, a legend of the sport, not only in Japan, but for anybody that really follows mixed martial arts. This guy was a legend, some incredible fights, an amazing highlight reel, lost the battle to cancer, and he truly will be missed. So rest in peace, Kid Yamamoto. Much love from all of us on Team Penn to his family and his loved ones. He will truly be missed. God bless everybody. Peace out.